review our map for tomorrow's quiz. Tomorrow's quiz will be a map over the Middle East, and it's over pages 22 to 35. It's talking about the Middle East. Okay, make sure you guys are studying for that, but we will review as well. But let's go ahead and review. Let's review. Okay, who can tell me? Oh, guys, we actually have 4 days to earn tickets today because Friday is no class on Friday in the afternoon. No. 4 days to earn tickets. When do you get out at 4 o'clock ever?
We go to school for a second and then we come home.
Okay, listen up, class. Okay, so just listen, okay? So the little handout that Mrs. Rule gave to you guys, the little handout, there was a reminder. I gave it to you as like a half sheet of paper on Friday, okay? So on the reminder, it said that this Friday the teachers are having a teacher's training, so it's half day on Friday. So we'll still have Bible class, but we will not have history or reading on Friday or science. So yes, Ariel. Good question. I don't really know. Adam.
You're teachers. There's no more water in there, so I had to put coal in this. You're not drinking out of it, so might as well. Yeah, you drank that. Sorry. There you are.
You done? Yes, you're done. That's the correct answer. Okay?
Yeah, Adam.
Shh, class, we should not be talking out. Yes, Ariel? I don't know. I think it's just something in the middle of the first semester that they want to do. Maybe they're going to get a special speaker and then kind of teach us too.
Just drop out and just go to McDonald's.
All right, class. All right, class. Boys, no more talking out, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, did you have a question, Josiah? Thank you. Just training. I don't really know. I've never been there before, so. But let's go ahead and review our quiz. Okay? Let's earn some tickets. Why do you have tickets?
I got some for Mrs. Roll.
She has different tickets.
She couldn't find her regular one.
Regular ones. They're in the back of there.
Oh
But
yeah, she has the white ones.
it's all good.
It's all good.
I have my regular ones that she gave me.
Uh-oh. All right, guys. What is letter A? Okay, I'll give everyone a chance to answer. Let's start up here. Adam, what did I say? Please put that in your cubby. Put it in your cubby. No.
I don't have nothing to drink in this one though.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Fill it up.
Put that in your cubby.
It is a good thing. Do you want me to get dehydrated?
You're not going to get dehydrated. You're kind of choking yourself with that.
You're not gonna get dehydrated.
Okay. Let's start with Tristan. What's letter A? Mount Ararat. Who landed? Well, who do we believe landed on here? Landon? Noah's Ark. Okay. Class. Okay. Letter B. Liviana. What mountain is that? Mount Sinai. Class, say it with me. Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is on the Sinai Peninsula, okay? Letter C. What area is that, Tony? Uh-oh, Tony doesn't know.
Greece?
Not Greece.
No, Greece. Lydia. Nana?
Lydia. Not Nana. Shh. Adam, please turn face forward. Adam, turn all the way around. Stay turned around. Okay, Shane, what is letter D?
Lydia?
Not Lydia. He just said that. Ariel? The Hittites. The Hittites is letter D. Boys, do you know what's on your quiz tomorrow?
Yes. All this and then some stuff all right here.
Adam, I didn't say to tell me. Okay, shh, class. Okay, no more. Being serious, no more. I'm done. Okay? And you guys should be done too, Adam. Okay? What is letter E, class? Oh, not class. Ariel? Did you already answer? Olive. Mesopotamia. Good. Adam, what does Mesopotamia mean?
2 rivers.
Not 2 rivers.
Between 2 rivers.
Between the rivers. Okay, letter F. Okay. Josiah. What area is that? Phoenicia. Good. What is letter G? What area is that, Emmeline? Israel. Good. Letter H. What peninsula is that, Gavin? What peninsula is letter H?
Oh!
It's the same peninsula that the mountain's on. Shh, Adam. Cameron, can you help him out?
H?
Letter H. What peninsula is that?
I actually don't know.
Okay, Tristan? The Sinai Peninsula. Remember, you guys, remember that for your quiz, okay? The Sinai Peninsula is the same peninsula that Mount Sinai is on, okay? What's number 1, Landon? The Mediterranean Sea. Good. What is number 2? Cameron, please turn to page number 24. Okay? What sea is that one, Livy? The Red Sea. Okay. Who parted the Red Sea, Tony?
Wait, what?
Who parted the Red Sea in the Bible? What's that story of the Red Sea parting?
Jesus?
Not Jesus. Well, yes, Jesus did, but technically,
Yeah, Noah.
not Noah. Shane? We kind of learned about him in our Bible. Remember? He was one of the greatest prophets. Not Abraham. Ariel? Not Nana. It was Moses. Moses parted the Red Sea. Is Noah the right answer? No.
They look the same. Wait, what's the answer?
Do you know what they look like?
Yeah, because both of them in the Bible it says they're old, so.
You think all old people look the same?
Moses helped Noah build the ark.
All right, class.
Noah lived in the beginning. Moses lived late, so I don't get it.
Class, no, you don't get a ticket because Noah was not the right answer. Okay? Number 3, what river is that one, Ariel? The Tigris River. Then number 4, Olive, what is that river? The Euphrates River. Class, please stop talking out loud. Raise your hand if you have a question. Other than that, zip it. Okay? Number 5. Adam, what's number 5?
Number 5 is.
What city is that?
Oh. Nineveh.
Nineveh. Okay, number 6. What city is that, Josiah? Babylon. Okay, what is number 7, Emmeline? What city is that? Good. Number 7 is Okay, next. Number 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, number 8, Cameron. What is number 8? What city is number 8? It's in your little box.
Can you show me?
No, you gotta find it. Gavin, please open your book to page number 24.
No, actually, no.
What is it?
Cannon?
Nope. Tristan? Number 8. What city is number 8? Look at on page 24. We're on page 24. Landon?
Sidon.
Not Sidon. Liviana?
Bib.
Biblos.
What is it?
Okay, Biblos. Class, what did I say about talking out?
Sorry.
No more. Okay, Biblos. And actually, I'm helping you guys for your quiz tomorrow. So if you guys want to do well, I suggest you listen. Okay? What is number 9? Tony?
Wait, number what?
Number 9 in your box.
Sidon.
Sidon. Sidon. Okay, and number 10. What's number 10, class? Not class. Shane? Tyre, the city of Tyre or Tyre. I say Tyre. But okay, look at number 11, class. The city that I want you to know is Jerusalem, okay? Jericho is a little bit above the Dead Sea, but it's not on your map here. Jerusalem is the city next to the sea, okay? It's not exactly right there, but we want to know the city of Jerusalem, okay? All right, let's review from for our quiz. Who are the Arabs who wander from place to place with their herds? Ariel? The Arabs. Bedouins. Good. Those are the Bedouins. Sorry, it's underneath there. Okay, those are the Bedouins. Which people left an alphabet as their most important contribution to the world? Olive? The Phoenicians. Excuse me. Which people were among the first to build an empire, Adam? I know. I'm going in a row. Which people were among the first to build an empire? Please put your pen away. Not the Phoenicians, Josiah. The Hittites. Remember, the Hittites were known for building an empire. Remember, this was the same city that people don't really, like, they thought they didn't exist. But then, later on, they found archaeological studies that they actually did exist, okay? Which were the first people to mint coins? Emmeline? The what? The Lydians?
Yes.
Good. The Lydians were the first people to mint coins. Good job.
I have a hard time saying.
That's all right. We're reviewing for our quiz tomorrow what we learned yesterday and the day before, okay? Which people were the descendants of Abraham? We actually haven't gone over that yet, but who can guess?
Oh, I got it.
Cameron?
Oh. We haven't got
We haven't gone over it yet. We're going to learn about that today.
the
Gavin, do you know who the descendants of Abraham were? The Israelites or the Hebrews. Good. So go ahead and turn to page number 32. Not 32. Is that 32?
Yeah.
32, 3.7. Israelites, God's chosen people. Second, okay. So, we just said that the Israelites were the descendants of Abraham. Okay, what city did Abraham leave? Where did he come from? Tristan? Remember, Abraham was the famous person in the Bible that came from the land of Okay, so he is the father of all the nations, obviously, and the descendants of Abraham were the Hebrews or the Israelites. All right, let's look at the geography of the Holy Land. Cameron, you can stand and read the important location.
The nation of Israel inhabits the narrow strip of land between the Mediterranean Sea and Jordan River. Small as it is situated in the center of the eastern river. Over the strip of land, the rivers pass through them from the road to Otis. Mesopotamia and Egypt. Israel
Good. The nation of Israel inhabited the narrow strip of the land between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River. So if you guys look on your map, okay, the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River, okay? So the Jordan River, whoop. All right, if you guys look on page number 24, just turn back really quickly to your map. Okay, do you guys see where Israel is? It's in that little box where Canaan is and Phoenicia. Okay, there's Israel. You guys see the Jordan River right next to it on page 24. Okay, so that's where the Jordan River is. And then the Mediterranean Sea on the left. So Israel is in between the Jordan Sea and, or the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River. Okay, good job reading, Cameron. Gavin, can you please read about the land of beauty? Thank you. This is the land of beauty with many mountains, hills, valleys, plains, waters, and streams. It's very fertile, okay? A variety of water. Let's read about this. The Mediterranean Sea, which runs along Israel's coast, affects Israel's climate. Land closest to the sea is coolest, and land farthest from it is desert. Israel has a Mediterranean climate with mild, rainy winters and hot, dry summers. Let's read about to the north, Adam. Please stand.
To the north of Israel, Mount Hermon, where are many cool, fresh springs of mountain water. These springs are the source of the longest and most important river in Israel.
Please highlight that. Longest and most important river in Israel is the Jordan River. Okay?
The Jordan River runs through the middle of the deepest fault in the Earth's surface. In the world. This crack lies in the middle of the Jordan River valley and goes beyond the country of Israel and into the continent of Africa.
Thank you. From Mount Hermon, the Jordan River flows south for 100 miles. In ancient days, it flowed into a small body of water called Lake Hula. Today, Lake Hula does not exist since it was completely drained to make more farmland available. The Jordan left Lake Hula and continued its journey south for 10 more miles. The Jordan falls near 700 feet over waterfalls, making dangerous rapids that are impossible for boats to travel over. How many of you guys have been whitewater rafting? I've tried. I almost did, but actually I almost drowned in a river one time. Well, that's a different story. If you guys want to hear it, I'll tell you. But we will talk about that later, okay? Let's continue to read. Shh, Landon. Okay, let's continue to read on page 33, class. Shh. The next stop was what, class? Louder. The Sea of Galilee. Okay, Sea of Galilee. If you don't know where we are, you should. We are on the top of the page on page 33, talking about the Sea of Galilee. Okay, the next stop was the Sea of Galilee, which is about 700 feet below sea level. Okay, so look at your picture at the top of the page. So you see the Mediterranean Sea on the far left. All right. That is sea level. The Sea of Galilee is 700 feet below sea level. And then the Dead Sea, that's negative, well, it's 1,300 feet below sea level. So, if you guys see the Dead Sea on page 33, highlight that. The Dead Sea is the lowest place on the Earth's land surface. Yes, Adam? Not because a lot of people died in there, but a lot of things died in there. It's so salty that plants and fish can't survive in there. So, about 1,300 feet below sea level. Yes, Tristan?
What happens if you swim in it?
You won't die.
What about if you drink it? Like if
It'll be very, very salty. Yep.
if you go to Israel, you could actually swim in the Dead Sea. But my grandpa went in there, but he said it only goes to your waist because all the salt pushes you up there.
You float in the Dead Sea. You can't, like, you can go under, but then all the salt like pushes you up, so you can float. You can, I'm sure. But if like you don't know how to swim, all you have to do is just kind of like lay there, and then you can float. Gavin, you can just lay there, and then you will float to the top.
Is there animals?
No, we just said everything dies in there.
No shark.
Nothing lives in it.
What
Yep.
about saltwater fish?
Huh?
Can a dog go swimming in it?
A dog can, but you don't want them to drink a bunch of the water, because then they'll have a lot of salt in their system. But the thing is about the fish, the reason why they can't survive but other dogs can and like animals can is because we breathe air, right? So animals like dogs, they breathe air, oxygen through the air. Fish, they breathe through gills. They take in the oxygen in the water, and the salt is so like extreme that they can't survive in that sea. Yes, Adam?
What about saltwater fish?
Yep, even then. They can't, it's too salty for them.
So there's nothing in there?
Nope, it's just a bunch of like dead stuff, like dead plants, like algae, like different things like that. Dirt,
What do you think there's at the bottom of the
probably just a bunch of rocks and like,
bones? Skeletons?
no octopus. Okay, let's talk about the Jordan River emptying its water, okay? So if you guys look, class. All right, so let's look at our map. Okay, look at our map about the Dead Sea. All right, the Dead Sea, you guys see where, not the Dead Sea, but the Jordan River on number 9 in that area on your map. Okay, that is where the Jordan River is. All right, and then it empties itself into the Dead Sea. So the reason why it's dead is because there's not a lot of, when it empties itself into the Dead Sea, there's no outlet for the water to go. So the water just kind of stays there, and it's very stagnant, and it doesn't move, and there's no like filtering systems. It's just there. That is why the Dead Sea is how it is, okay? There's no outlet from the Dead Sea, yet the Dead Sea keeps the same level of water from day to day. Because the climate around the Dead Sea is hot and dry, the same amount of water is evaporated from the sea that is emptied into it by the Jordan River, okay? As you know from your study of science, when water evaporates, the salt and the other minerals also remain in the sea, okay? Turn the page on page 34. You can imagine how salty the Dead Sea is as day after day, year after year, the water evaporates and the salt remains the same. In fact, the Dead Sea is the saltiest sea, or the saltiest body of water in the world. Okay, that's just some facts about the Dead Sea. Let's read about God's people in Egypt. Okay, Ariel, can you please stand and read about God's people in Egypt? Thank you. Okay, at the time the Israelites entered Egypt, the Pharaoh, which was the ruler, was friendly towards foreigners. As time passed, however, other pharaohs were not as friendly. When the children of Israel, or the Hebrews, the descendants of Abraham, highlight that. Okay, Hebrews are the descendants of Abraham. When they first entered Egypt, they numbered only 70. During their stay, they increased to possibly 3 million people. The pharaohs now feared that the Hebrews were a threat to their power, So, in effort to keep the Hebrews from growing more powerful, they made slaves of them and then forced them to make bricks and build cities. So, remember when we talked about Moses in our Bible lesson last week? How God told him, Moses, go let my people go back to Egypt to free my family, or free my people. Okay, remember how we said Moses said I couldn't speak well? They won't understand me. They won't understand who sent me. They won't believe me. Remember we talked about that? This was what happened in Egypt at the time. So the Hebrews, the descendants of Abraham, Gavin, please throw that away. Okay, the descendants of Abraham are the Hebrews. They were only 70 people when they first went to Egypt. However, when they stayed, they increased to 3 million, or around 3 million. They were a nation of Israel. So, because they were so many, the Egyptians feared that the Hebrews would try to take over the land. So what did the Egyptians do to the Israelites, class? What did they do? Huh? They didn't quite kill them, but I'm sure some died. Tristan said it. They made slaves out of them, and they forced them to build bricks in their city walls. Okay? Though they were slaves, God was still with his people. With fearful cruelty and hatred, the Egyptian Pharaoh did his best to destroy the Hebrews. He even ordered that all the Hebrew male infants be killed, but God spared a baby boy named who, class? Moses. He was rescued by the Pharaoh's daughter, who raised him in Pharaoh's court. He could have been called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, but when he became old enough, he refused the honor. God had chosen Moses to lead his people. Who are his people, class? The Hebrews, out of slavery in Egypt, back to the land that God had promised them. What was that land, class? Canaan, which would one day be called Israel. Okay? Let's read that one last paragraph. The Hebrews miraculously crossed the Red Sea and traveled into the wilderness. So after Moses freed the children of Israel in order to get away from the Egyptians, they crossed the Red Sea. Do you guys remember how God did that? God parted the Red Sea for them so that they could cross. You guys could see that on page 34, that picture. Okay? They traveled into the wilderness of the Sinai Peninsula, which is that triangular peninsula between Egypt and the Promised Land. You guys can see the Sinai Peninsula on letter H on your map. Okay? From Mount Sinai, God gave the Hebrews the 10 Commandments, which is God's basic rules for right and wrong. Make sure you guys highlight that. From Mount Sinai, God gave the Hebrews the 10 Commandments, which are God's basic rules for right and wrong. The children of Israel became known as the Israelites. Okay? So, when the Israelites escaped Egypt, do you guys think that they went right away into Canaan? No, they didn't. They wandered in that wilderness of the Sinai Peninsula for a long time. A really, really, really long time. And during that time, God told them to conquer the other nations or other civilizations, as you will. Okay? So they needed to conquer the Canaanites and then the Midianites that we kind of learned about this morning. Okay? They needed to conquer those people in order to possess the land of Canaan. Okay? So look at that. The Israelites returned to their land after the Israelites had wandered in the wilderness of Sinai for how many years, class? 40 years, okay? 40 years these Israelites were walking around. So after the leader of Moses, whenever he died, their second leader was Joshua, okay? With Joshua in command, God allowed them to miraculously cross the Jordan River into Canaan, which is the land that God had promised to Abraham and his descendants. Okay, we remember that we saw this. Okay, today, look at the top of the page. We call the land of Canaan what, class? What do we call the land of Canaan? Israel or the Holy Land. Highlight that. Today we call the land of Canaan Israel or the Holy Land. because many events recorded in the Bible took place there, and because Jesus lived there when he was on earth. The people are called Israelites, Hebrews, Jews, or Israelis. All right, let's go ahead and review. Between what sea and what river does Israel lie? What sea? Adam?
The Dead Sea.
Not the Dead Sea. Okay, the Jordan River and what sea, Tony? The Mediterranean Sea. Good. Israel lies between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, make sure you're writing your name on these, Tony. All right, next. Why was Israel often invaded by enemies? Josiah? Why was Israel often invaded? Remember how we said there was something about it? That Huh? I can't hear you.
Because people called it the Holy Land?
No. Tristan, why do you think that... Not that they worship false idols. Why did people want the land of Israel? Okay? Well, think about where it lies. It's between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River. What do you think makes Israel so special that people want it? Yes, Shane?
It has a good water source.
It has a good water source. What else? Emmeline?
It also has more farming.
More farming, okay. Tristan? It's very fertile. That's what I'm looking for, because Israel is in a good place, okay, because of the water source. There's, ports in the Mediterranean Sea, in the Jordan River, there's water, okay. In between those, the land is so fertile. People often wanted to conquer Israel. Okay, what was the longest and most important river in Israel? Olive, what's the longest and most important river in Israel? The Jordan River. Good. The Jordan River is the longest and most important river in Israel. What is a crack in the earth's surface called? This won't be on your quiz, but maybe you guys know this. Tristan? A fault. Good. A fault is the crack in the earth's surface. Okay, what is unusual about the Dead Sea, Gavin? No fishies. What else, Ariel? Underwater sea creatures can't really live there. I'm looking for one thing. Tony?
You could float.
You can float. That's not exactly unusual, but I'll give it to you. Yes, Liviana? Sorry? Really salty, Tristan?
One of the saltiest. It's one of the saltiest oceans in the world.
She just said it's very salty.
And 1,000-something feet below sea level.
Okay, it's the lowest point, but also one of the most unusual things is that there's no outlet. There's no water, how it doesn't drain? That's why it's so salty. That's one of the things, okay? What is the other name for the Dead Sea? It's on page 34. It's right there, Adam.
The Red Sea?
Not the Red
The
Sea.
Dead
Nope. Another name for the Dead Sea, Gavin.
Salt Sea?
The Salt Sea. You really think Mount Hermon is another name for a sea? Okay, another name for the Dead Sea is the Salt Sea. Okay? Last question. What did God promise Abraham? Landon, what did God promise Abraham? Canaan. Okay. That was the land. What else? Well, what about Canaan? Tony?
Like the names of it?
No, not the names, but what did God promise?
That they would.
What about Canaan? That they would.
That they would. Split the Dead Sea?
No. What about Canaan, class? What did God promise Canaan? Why did he say? No, not exactly. What was so special about Canaan? It was the promised land, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What about it? That Abraham would what? Canaan. Yes? Shh, no. God promised Abraham Canaan, that Abraham would conquer Canaan and he would have Canaan, okay? That's kind of God's promise to Abraham, that he would be a great nation, all right? Hopefully you guys are ready for your quiz tomorrow. Tonight for homework, you have to study for your quiz, okay? Make sure you guys are studying for that. And then for reading, tonight for homework is skill sheet 11. Yes.